Call to order the June 24th regular business meeting of Waynesboro City Council. I'd like to welcome everyone this evening. I've asked Jim if he would lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. For those in attendance this evening, if you wish to speak during the citizen comment period, please sign up on the sheet in the back of chambers. Item 2 is the adoption of the meeting agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the agenda passes 4-0. Item 3 is matters from mayor, and I do not have anything to add this evening. Item 4 will move to matters from council members. Does anybody have anything? No? Okay. Moving right along. Item 5 is consideration of the consent agenda. Is there a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. And is there a second?
A second?
Thank you, Mr. Short. Is there any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that passes 4-0. Item 6 is to present a proclamation to the Waynesboro Rotary Club recognizing the club's centennial anniversary, and I will call on Mr. Hamper, City Manager.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Mayor and members of council, while Rotary International was established in 1905, the Waynesboro Rotary Club was founded in 1924. Tonight, the City Council's proclamation recognizes and celebrates the 100 years of local, national, and international service and an ongoing commitment to high ethical standards in all vocations. And so this evening, I think representatives of the Waynesboro Club are present to receive the proclamation.
Okay.
I think they might want to take a photo, and they might also have brief remarks.
Okay, well, I will hand you the presentation, and then we will move forward. Would any of the council members like to say anything to the Rotary Club?
Just thanks for all that you do, and what a celebration of civic service, which is in scarce supply nowadays. So we are so thankful for your continued leadership and participation in our community. We're better because of it. Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to echo on top of what Terry said also. Just, I don't know, from my perspective on it, since we met with you, me and the mayor met with you about the traffic garden that we're coming up to help celebrate year 100. Being part of the Metropolitan Planning Organization, I got to tell them about it, so I kind of stole a little thunder maybe. But I can tell you, I've got more feedback from people throughout the county, City of Stanton, and Waynesboro on this. Is probably one of the biggest topics that we've had helped do with the city to get feedback on. So we're really looking forward to the traffic garden when it comes in. It's going to be a great asset to the city of Waynesboro and the area. So.
Now, I'd like to add, you could not have bestowed your generosity on a more excited community, and thank you so much. And we'd like to celebrate with you by presenting a proclamation of your centennial. And Mr. Allen, would you like to add?
Y'all have given a lot of money back to this community, to places that really deserve it and need it, so thank you.
Would anybody like to say anything before I present your proclamation?
Sure, I'd be happy to. Have just a few remarks. And first of all, just want to thank you, Mayor Williams, and all the distinguished members of council. On behalf of the Rotary Club of Waynesboro, we are so grateful for this special honor that you've given us. And I'm joined this evening by some exceptional Rotarians, members of our Centennial Planning Team. Also, a city staff member is an exceptional Rotarian here this evening. And we're really excited to announce the official launch of the Centennial, which will be July 1st. It's an incredible milestone for our club. We are particularly honored to be partnering with the city's wonderful Department of Parks and Rec. They have been amazing to work with, the Central Shenandoah Valley Office on Youth and other local Rotary clubs to bring to you the Rotary Traffic garden, which we have actually named the Rotary Traffic Playground. We like the image that that creates. And we're honored to be able to celebrate our centennial by bringing this space, which, as we've shared with you, is going to allow children a safe place to learn how to ride their bicycles while also learning the rules of the road. It's really a wonderful project. We're also incredibly excited to launch a series of monthly service initiatives throughout our centennial. So we'll be addressing some specific community needs while also supporting the valuable nonprofits in our community. So very honored to be here tonight to celebrate our 100 years of service, particularly excited to move forward into the next century to carry on our legacy of service. And again, we just thank you all so much for this special proclamation and acknowledging us. And we would love a picture. Thank you.
Council members, if you'd like.
We'd love for you to come up too.
Come on, Mike. That would be great as well. The more the merrier.
Hey, look at that.
We want to make sure everybody can see.
Come on.
See everybody? Yes. Okay.
Congratulations on your
Milestone.
And like I said, you do not have to stay for the remainder of the meeting unless you just really to. You don't have to leave either.
Way to run them off, Mayor.
We'll give them just a minute and then we'll move on. Okay. Item 7 is to present a proclamation to the Central Shenandoah Emergency Medical Services Council proclaiming Waynesboro as a stroke smart city. Mr. Hamp.
Yes, ma'am. Stroke Smart Virginia is a Commonwealth-wide public health initiative to draw attention to and reduce pre-hospital delays and increase timely stroke treatment through simple education and actions. The proclamation this evening represents Waynesboro's support for and participation in the initiative. Present tonight are representatives from Augusta Health, Waynesboro First Aid Crew, and the Central Shenandoah Health District. I'm not sure which individual or individuals are going to receive the proclamation.
So I'd like to invite you forward to speak if you would like.
Hi, I'm Daniel Lincolns, Director of the Central Shenandoah EMS Council and Regional Director for the Virginia Office of EMS, which is a part of the Virginia Department of Health. Stroke is the 4th leading cause of death in Virginia. Over 20,000 people are hospitalized each year, and that rate, the stroke rate triples in people over 65 years of age. The Stroke Smart Virginia is a public health initiative and is being coordinated by the Virginia Stroke Systems Task Force. Waynesboro will be the 2nd locality in the western half of the state to make this proclamation and join this movement. So we certainly appreciate this partnership and your support for these life-saving efforts. One of the challenges that we have is a lot of patients don't recognize stroke. They don't recognize those symptoms, and then they delay care. If they do recognize them, they may seek care at a doctor's office or a facility that's not properly equipped to treat them. So we really want to encourage people to know the signs and symptoms of a stroke, and then to call 911. Our providers are trained to recognize those signs and symptoms to alert the hospital, and then to take the patient to the appropriate facility where they can get care based on the type of stroke that they are, or symptoms that they're exhibiting. So we just have a few hours to act in those situations, and so EMS providers are trained to do that and to get the system in place and prepared. And so as we move forward with this initiative, Stroke Smart Waynesboro will be better equipped to spot a stroke, stop a stroke, and save a life by calling 911 in the first recognition of symptoms. We do have free resources available from VDH, and so we'd encourage you to put those around public facilities and make those available. And they're available on our website or in our local offices. So I'm joined by Dr. Bracos from the Health District, Amy Markham from Augusta Health, Steve Ward from the first aid crew, as well as Gary Kreitzer from the city here. So thank you very much for
Thank you.
participation in this.
I'd like to give you this, but before I do, I'd like to invite members of council to say a few words if they would like, and I would love to hear the symptoms to look out for stroke.
Excellent. Yep, we can do that. Facial droop, so slurred speech, and then any type of unilateral or weakness are common signs and symptoms of that. And we have some cards here that I've left with your staff here, as well as some cards in the back and magnets that are available to order as many as you want, so we can make those available. So.
I'd like to use any opportunity to educate the public on those signs.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Anybody else?
And I just have an employee where I work who had a stroke a few years ago, just out of the blue. Didn't know no real warning about it, and at the time they told him he would never regain his speech or really the ability to walk. And he's back to work full time. He has a few memory issues, but to me that just really opened my eyes about how far we've come, but yet still how little we know about the oncoming stroke. So thank you for the work that you do.
Yeah, and Amy was sharing with me some numbers at Augusta Health. So over 510 patients in 2023 presented to the hospital, and less than half of those came by ambulance. So it's really important that we get this word out. Thank you for doing
Thank
that.
you so much. I'd like to present this to you and members of council. If you'd also like to join in this photograph, that would be wonderful. And anybody else that would like to move forward. I'm gonna make you guys go through this.
We can stand. We're standing.
Let's stand up here.
You can if you want.
Get the old man up here.
A little bigger than that. A little smaller than that. Okay, I'll move it.
Thank you.
And again, you're more than welcome to leave since you've received your proclamation, or you can stay, whichever you choose. Okay. Give them a few minutes to.
Looked like you dropped the ball.
Thank you so much. Okay. Item 8 is to receive information and consider adopting a resolution authorizing the execution of a performance agreement between the City of Waynesboro, the Virginia Panel Corporation, and the Economic Development Authority of the City of Waynesboro. I would like to invite our Director of Economic Development and Tourism, Mr. Greg Hitchen.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of council. Virginia Panel Corporation has been a decades-long Virginia manufacturer of electronic components that are sold around the world. In those decades that they've been here, they've expanded multiple times, and they're currently completing an $11 million expansion, which includes approximately $7.7 million in land and building and $3.3 million in new equipment. With that expansion, the company qualifies for our local expansion assistance program, which analyzes a number of factors, including capital investment, job quality and quantity, industry type, project type, and end results of sales. Are they local or are they out of the area? Tonight, we're asking for your consideration of a resolution and acceptance of the performance agreement that authorizes the city manager to execute the performance agreement. The details of the reimbursement of taxes and fees paid are in the outline and in the performance agreement. And as a note, the EDA did review this and approve it unanimously at their regular June 14th meeting. Any questions?
Are there any questions? No? No? Okay. Is there a motion? Thank you, Greg. Is there a motion to adopt the resolution?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that resolution passes 4-0. Thank you, council. Thank you, Greg. Item 9 is to receive information and consider introducing an ordinance amending City Code Chapter 34, Fire Prevention and Protection. I would like to call on our Assistant City Manager for Public Safety, Mr. Wilhelm.
Good evening, Madam Mayor and members of City Council. City staff and legal counsel are proposing amendments and additions to City Code Chapter 34, Fire Prevention and Protection. Revisions to Chapter 34 are intended to remove antiquated code language and ensure regulatory consistency with the Code of Virginia and the Virginia Statewide Fire Prevention Code, and also create a web-based third-party inspection, reporting, and collection program. Chapter 34 consists of basically 3 articles. Article number 1 establishes the Waynesboro Fire Department and describes the status of key personnel within the fire department, including the fire chief, deputy fire chief, fire marshal, battalion chiefs, and captains. Article 2 primarily prescribes standards for the installation and operation of fire detection and alarm systems. And Article 3 establishes regulatory authority for enforcement of fire codes. It sets standards for open burning, fireworks, and blasting, and establishes fees for permits and inspections. Some of the key code amendments that we're suggesting tonight, the first amendment pertains to changing the titles of certain positions within the fire department to reflect the current rank and structure. The second amendment pertains to changing the name of the fire marshal's office to the Community Risk Reduction Office. The fire marshal, deputy fire marshal, and assistant fire marshals, which are all appointed by the fire chief, work in the Community Risk Reduction Office. This office encompasses several areas of community risk reduction. These areas include fire inspections, site plan reviews, investigations, public education, and hydrant maintenance. The third amendment pertains to referencing the fire code official versus the fire chief in the city code. The fire chief is the fire code official. However, the title of the fire chief is most often related to the rank and structure within the department. The title of fire code official is the title referenced in many areas of code enforcement. The fourth city code amendment removes sections that were duplicated with our adoption of the Virginia State Fire Prevention Code. Section 34-22 pertains to maintaining fire alarms, detection, or suppression equipment. This amendment allows for the use of a third-party inspection collection program that is utilized by the Commonwealth of Virginia called iRoll, which is Inspection Reporting Online. This program will streamline the process for submitting reports to the fire code official. And Article 3, Division 3, pertains to tire storage. This amendment addresses areas that have excessive waste and tire storage. The statewide Fire Prevention Code is kind of vague on this topic and generally relies on the localities to adopt the regulations of the Department of Environmental Quality. These regulations have been included in the proposed amendments. The final amendment includes updating the permits and fees section. This section is taken directly from the Virginia State Fire Prevention Code, and it was necessary to amend it to match the current state code. Additional fee categories have been included, but existing permit fees will remain unchanged. Our recommendation tonight is approving the proposed changes to Chapter 34 as presented, and if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Are there any questions?
The tire storage, is that residential and commercial?
Yes.
Yes? No? Okay, is there a motion to introduce the ordinance?
So moved.
Okay, Mr. Short. And is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. This ordinance will receive final consideration at the July 8th meeting. Thank you, Mr. Wilhelm. Item 10 is to receive information and consider introducing an ordinance amending City Code Chapter 30, Environment. I would like to call on our city attorney, Jordan Bowman.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. The city of Waynesboro is required by law to operate a municipal separate storm sewer system, more commonly called an MS4. The city is also required to regulate land disturbing activities through our erosion and sediment control ordinance. Effective July 1 of this year, the General Assembly is requiring localities to create one unified Virginia erosion and stormwater management program. In effect, these are two separate programs that we already have, and we are merging them into one program for the purpose of streamlining administration and enforcement. The proposed revisions to the city code are to unify these two ordinances and to reorganize it so it makes sense. They're consistent with the model ordinance proposed by DEQ and are required by the Virginia Code. Staff recommends adoption, and I can answer any questions that you may have.
Are there any questions? No questions? Okay, thank you so much. Is there a motion to introduce the ordinance?
I'll make it motion.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Any discussion? Okay, this ordinance will receive final consideration at the July 8th meeting. That brings us to item 11, and that is to consider adopting a resolution providing for the issuance and sale of general obligation bonds, refunding bonds of the city of Waynesboro, Virginia, in the aggregate principal amount not to exceed $8,270,000, providing for the form details payment thereof, and providing for the refunding of all or a portion of the city's outstanding general obligation refunding bond series 2014A. I would like to call on our Assistant City Manager for Finance, Mr. Cameron McCormick.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and good evening, members of council. In 2014, the council refinanced general obligation debt, and the amortization schedule included a final payment of approximately $8 million that would be due in calendar year 2024. At the time, it was recognized that the debt would likely need to be refinanced again during the final year of repayment. The purpose of this resolution is to set the wheels in motion to put bonds out for bid to refinance this debt. The main decision point from council on this was the length of amortization, which we discussed last meeting. We brought two different financing options, one for a shorter amortization, one for a longer amortization. Council requested that we go with the shortest amortization that would keep the debt service level, which ended up being between 13 and 14 years. Since it is a public sale on the bond, we won't have final numbers in until we put the request for proposal out and the bond sale comes back. We anticipate that'll happen sometime July or August, in time to refund the debt, the final debt payment, which is due August, September timeframe. If council has any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. One thing I would point out is this does require a roll call vote.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? No? Okay, is there a motion to adopt the resolution providing for the issuance and sale of bonds refunding existing debt not to exceed a principal amount of $8,270,000?
Make it motion.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Wood. Any discussion? Okay, this requires a roll call vote. Ms. Bortle?
Mayor Williams?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Wood?
Aye.
Councilman Allen? Councilman Short?
Aye.
Okay, and that resolution passes 4-0. Item 12 is to receive information regarding opioid settlement funds and consider adopting a resolution authorizing the city manager and city attorney to execute documents to effectuate the proposed settlement of the opioid-related claims against Kroger and its related corporate entities. Mr. Ham.
Yes, ma'am. The Commonwealth obviously continues its work on settlement of damages resulting from the opioid crisis and the distribution of settlement funds to localities. The resolution tonight authorizes the city attorney and city manager to execute documents related to the settlement with Kroger. I would remind the council that presently Waynesboro, Stanton, and Augusta County have undertaken a process by which we will assess need in the community, assess treatment and service providers in the community, and also gain input from the community generally in order to develop regional specific solutions and recommendations on how the settlement funds could best be spent to impact the crisis locally. To that end, a brief notice that on July 16th at 6 p.m. There'll be a virtual town hall in which citizens can participate and give input and hear more about this process. And then the following day, on July 17th at 6 p.m. at the Stanton City Council chambers, there'll be an in-person town hall meeting, again, to receive input from the community and also share information about the program. My expectation is that by the time we get to the fall, we should begin to have some idea of recommendations for regional programs on spending these funds.
Okay. Are there any questions for Mr. Hamp? No? Okay, is there a motion to adopt the resolution authorizing the city manager and attorney to execute the documents associated with the Kroger opioid settlement?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Short. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Allen. Any discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And that resolution passes 4-0. Item 13 is communication, correspondence, and calendar. Mr. Hamp.
Just one item, and that is, the plan is, according to the schedule, meeting schedule adopted by City Council, to cancel the second meeting in July, which is July 22nd. And then, as a reminder, we'll have important and timely work to accomplish related to the relocation of the West Sea polling at both meetings in August. So we'll be alert to that need. I don't have anything beyond that.
Okay, thank you. So item 14 is citizen comments. Do we have anyone signed up?
Yes, ma'am, we do. Ms. Cheryl Carey.
Okay. If you could just state your name and address for our records, and just a reminder that you have 4 minutes in which to address council.
Cheryl Carey, 820 Fairway Drive. I'm here about the Smith Farm. I was at zoning commission for my first time and learned about it. And that's when I learned about the 2018 comprehensive plan, which gives the builders a buy right to basically build whatever they want. I don't know who came up with a 2018 plan, who gave all the Waynesboro rights away for builders come in, buy land, build what they want. I don't know who was on the board at that time. I don't know what the thing is, but it really disturbs me and a lot of other people that Waynesboro citizens have no right to builders coming in, buying land, building what they want, and we got to be happy with it. Who thought that was a good idea? Then I heard about the rule or the guide, I'm not sure, 3 units per acre. And they say King Farm is at like 2.71, and we should be happy about that. What they take into consideration, they calculate the green space in with that. This is the high density. They're saying we have, the guide or the rule is 3, and we're below that because they're counting the green space. Who counts the green space? You don't live in the green space. That's like telling a prisoner his 4x8 cell isn't really 4x8 because he's got the recreation yard he can go live in or walk in for a while. So that's just, I don't know if it's a rule or a guide, I haven't found out. That's just being very inventive and making us feel good that we're in with some guide, which makes no sense to me. I'm told we must accept what the builder is offering us, because if we don't, he's going to build high-density houses all in that green space. How can he do that if he's using the green space as calculation into getting to that ratio? He can't do that if that's the rule. If it's just a guide, then why are we even bothering with a guide, a feel-good guide that someone put out, the state or whoever? Builders aren't nice. They're not doing something. There's some reason that they're giving us this green space. They're not doing it to be nice. They're ruthless. They're builders. They're coming in here to build and leave. I don't know if you go on and looked at high-density homes. I recently did. I didn't know there were so many. I wanted to see a feel of it. They're horrible. They're packed in. They're basically all block colors. Not quality material, the siding is warping already. The driveways are short. They're counting parking as your garage and your driveway. Everyone knows people have 2 cars or more. Windy Grove is lined up with cars. They're going to be, in 10 years, slums. They're not made well. We have no control over what the builder is building when approved. We don't have control over the design. Who put this in the comprehensive plan for the citizens of Waynesboro that we have no control? We need a new comprehensive plan. that is for the citizens, for our quality of life, not for builders coming in and telling us what they're going to do and throwing us a bone saying green space. That doesn't make sense. And I've tried to get what salaries everyone's being paid who wrote up these comprehensive plans, and I'm waiting on that. I don't know why there isn't a tab to get salaries.
Mr. Charlie McCauley?
My name's Charlie McCauley. I live 437 South Ellison Lane here in Waynesboro. Wanted to address some issues at Riverview Cemetery. 2 years straight, the first Monday in February, all floral items have been indiscriminately yanked out of the ground. Last year, I was late getting out because of COVID and lost 40-plus poinsettias and a lot of other greenery. This year, I got out in time. This only applies to the upper plots in the cemetery, which comprises about 90% of the cemetery, basically older plots owned by lower and middle-class people. The lower part of the cemetery near Rosser Avenue, probably 10% of the cemetery, is owned by the rich, powerful, and elite in this city. They put down anything they want, including flowers, statues, solar lights, golf balls, golf clubs, flags, mulch, rocks, others. They have some signs, as everyone else in the cemetery, which states all items to be removed February 1st for mowing. But the rich, the powerful, and the elite don't have to abide by the rules because the Parks and Rec Department caters to their needs. It took me to go to a Parks and Rec meeting last year before anything got done. Then they put out more signs, went on Channel 3 TV, placed ads in the News Virginian paper, and spoke at a city council meeting to tell people they had to May 15th versus February 1st, like all others, to remove all items away from the tombstones. This is a fine waste of time and taxpayers' money that we give to the city every year. I threatened to sue the city last year to make the cemetery a level playing field. But here it is, June 24th, and the rich, powerful, and elite have once again gotten away with breaking all the rules. It's a pristine Taj Mahal where their families were laid to rest. The rest of the cemetery looks like a rundown ghost town. Why don't we, starting tomorrow, just indiscriminately yank out of the ground the items put in by the rich and powerful in our city? I'm retired, I have time on my hands, and I'm free labor. Let's save the taxpayers money and not put ads on both TV, newspaper, or put down extra signs in the cemetery. Then we can discuss the horrific landscape maintenance practices at Riverview Cemetery. That's a subject for another day. Improper mowing, edging, lack of weed control, causing many bare spots which need reseeding. I'd like to thank you for your time, and please, somebody give me a call. All right. You're welcome.
Brings us to item 14.
Madam Mayor, I'm sorry, I know this is a little out of form, but I think I've only done this a couple of times. When something is materially and factually incorrect, I kind of like just to set the record straight. So regarding the Smith property, just for the record, the Smith property was annexed into the city in 1986, where it was previously zoned by the county and the County Board of Supervisors as R1, which is a large lot residential. It retains that large lot residential zoning designation as it has enjoyed since the annexation in 1986. A comprehensive plan is a visionary document, a vision document. It is not a regulatory document. A zoning document, which is adopted by the city, last updated in 2012. Prior to that, I think 1997. Those are the regulatory items. A comprehensive plan is a vision document. But more importantly, the Smith property, again, was annexed into the city with the exact same zoning that exists today. I'd also just note that those remarks about the comprehensive plan, I listened to the planning commission meeting, and those words were not uttered in the planning commission meeting. And if you'd like to watch the video, you can go back and watch the video, but those comments were not uttered at the planning commission meeting. That's all I have. Thank you.
Right, item 15, is there a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Allen, and is there a second?
A second?
Thank you, Mr. Stewart.
Yeah.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned.